Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to be friends and get your gaming goodness every Monday. My name's John Blight. Joining me on the couch this week, Ashley Hobley. And
hey John,
Ashley
excited
Hobley.
to be here. Excited to be here, but also excited that we finally know where Chun-Li is. She's important.
Okay. Yeah, fucking, yeah. her and literally everyone else at this point, it's ridiculous. Also here, Kira Merchant.
Hello, welcome to the Explosion Network, where unlike Blizzard, we don't ignore the elephant in the room.
What's the elephant in the room when it comes to the Explosion Network?
Well, I don't think there is one. Exactly. We don't have one to ignore in the first place, I guess.
Okay.
Well, then what's the elephant we're paying attention to then?
Well, there's no elephant to pay attention to. But if there was, it'd be something like how, Ashley transforms as soon as he presses the record button on Arcade Couch or something,
I nearly sent out a tweet the other day because I messaged him in Slack. I'm like, oh, could you do this thing, like write up this thing for me and blah, blah, blah. And he just goes, okay. I'm like, it's fucking ridiculous that I'll message him and just go like, okay. And then he gets on this podcast. He's like, oh,
you need me to
I don't need to go on a long rant for something that
it's just funny. All right, today on the show, we'll be talking about BlizzCon 2021, catch up on all that. Is Overwatch 2 dead? Find out. I'm sure Ash will joke about it nonetheless. Maybe Hogwarts Legacy is dead though, or maybe it should be. We'll talk a little bit about that. And there is at least a couple officially cancelled games we'll be talking about on this week's episode of Arcade Couch Cancelled. Not the podcast is cancelled, but there's several games to talk about which are cancelled. But let's start with games that are cancelled. Games that are coming from Nintendo, because Nintendo dropped the Pokemon company, I guess, by way of Nintendo, whatever you want to call it. They, on Saturday, 2 a.m., did a Pokemon Presents for the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, which is this year, so everyone was kind of expecting something mildly interesting to come out of this showcase, and I feel like most people were, from what I've seen, most sane people were happy with what's been shown. Well, let me put it this way before we dive into the announcements. I went to sleep looking at my Twitter after writing up some news stories and watching this at fucking 4 a.m. or whatever ridiculous time it was. Once I got done posting stuff, I go to bed. I went to Twitter quickly before I go to sleep. People are like, everyone on my timeline I'm following is like real happy. They're like, yeah, this is all great. All these announcements are great. I wake up in the morning and all of a sudden I'm seeing people like making fun of me. Like, Pokemon fans are the worst. I'm like, what happened? What happened while I was sleeping? And I'm like, okay, well, just Pokemon fans have done that thing where they're like, well, I saw someone sharing screen grabs of people complaining about Let's Go a couple years ago, and they're like saying, anyway, let's talk about what was actually shown off. So, well, as a showcase, Ash actually watched it you did, didn't you? You watched it, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
Presume you did because I was talking to you.
I was awake.
Yeah, he was awake. So, I didn't put a news story, but the showcase started with this nearly 5-minute long montage thing, which went through the entirety of Pokemon 25-year history. Yeah. It was a long display of all the shit they've managed to sell us. Yes, like
just to confirm quickly with Ashley, super quickly, 25 is okay as an anniversary.
25 is a good anniversary.
Good anniversary. Officially good.
It's a
good anniversary.
It's a good one. All right,
okay.
all right. Just so people playing at home.
Good anniversaries are 10, 11, and 25.
11? Wait, not 5? 5 isn't good?
Yeah, 11 is a joke from when we made fun of you one time for saying all the games. There was one where you went back and said, these old games are turning 10 this year. But then all the games that turn 11 were much better.
I can't believe you remember that.
That's a reach. That is, you know what? Ash is the encyclopedia of Arcade Couch, where he's just like...
See, long-time fans will appreciate these.
He's the Excalibur of our fucking...
See?
He's just...
So they did this long video. I thought it was pretty cool. I saw some people, complaining maybe it was a bit too long or whatever, but I thought it was cool to see Pokemon through the ages, from the first releases of the game, through the trading cards throughout the years, all the weird sort of stuff, peripherals and stuff they've had for stuff. A lot of which I was like, yeah, had that, especially like stuff when I was a kid, like, when they're showing all the, the cables through to the wireless adapters and stuff. And it just makes me think about my years through primary school, where it did go from like grade 1, where I'm sitting in the playground with the the cable to trade Pokemon to when I was in grade 5 or 6 or whatever, when they got the wireless adapter and I was sitting around battling with the wireless adapter. So, there's some nostalgia.
And then all the way to the
have.
point where you're 24, 25 stealing long lost friends
Fucking
Pokemon from Pokemon Go,
Yeah, so now we still Lugias off people who have no fucking idea what they got in their Pokeball, so that's fine. Did you like it, Ash?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good video. I mean, maybe a bit too long, but it was a good nostalgic thing.
Did its job, I feel.
Did its job, yeah.
So let's get into the things, because there's only 3 things shown. And by the way, I want to straight up say that I thought it was really cool that it was just 3 things. Like there was no fucking around. There was no Pokemon Sleep, no Pokemon Toothbrush, no any of that stuff. They were like, let's get straight into it. So they started the show with new Pokemon Snap, showed a brand new trailer for it, showed off a few details, confirmed that release date of April 30th. I think the game looks fucking awesome. 100% a Cuties game. I feel this is a shoe-in for a Cuties title. There's a part in the trailer that made me laugh because there's a Tyranitar eating an apple, and in the commentary for the video or whatever, the person says something along the lines of basically saying that Tyranitar's hardcore for eating that apple off the ground. I'm like, I don't know what kind of game this is, but that's insane. Part later where there's a freaking Venusaur that jumps off a waterfall or some shit into a lake. I was like, this game's intense. Who knows what's going to happen in new Pokemon Snap? These Pokemon are wild out here. I don't know what they're doing. I can see this game doing the one really cool standout feature, I guess, that kind of separates this from the original, other than like graphical updates and behaviors of Pokemon being more varied than they were in the original game, is they are 100% full in on the photography side, where they're going to cycle in on a daily or weekly or something like that basis, where you share your photos to the server and they're going to be choosing ones to showcase, like, so you can get your photos featured and stuff, because it's not just take a snap, there we go. Of course, they've got all the sort of photo mode features that most games have now, so you can zoom in, you can adjust the focus, you can add stickers, you can fucking, I don't know, add filters and stuff, I presume, as well. So you've got all of that here. I think it looks really cool. Here's this fucking Tyranitar, by the way, for video viewers. Look at this shit. Look at this fucking Tyranitar. Look at him.
It's wild that he picked up an apple off the ground.
Bloody monster. Who knows where that apple's been?
Just
on the ground.
Sorry, audio listeners, you're going to have to go to YouTube.
Or just watch the trailer. Find the part.
YouTube.com/explosion network.
Open up the trailer, go to about 1:15. That's right. That's where the Tyranitar, he's off his fucking, he's off his mind.
It's crazy. What's he thinking?
He doesn't like that apple. He just picks it up and eats it. What a bloody mad. No, I won't say it because it's Pokemon. Anyone else? How's everyone? Ash, how do you feel about Pokemon Snap?
I mean, yeah, it looks good. Hopefully, it lives up to the original and surpasses it, because obviously that original game's like 15 years old or something. Like, probably more. Like, it's like probably
64. It'd be
20 years old.
Approaching 20 years old or something, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, it looks good. Hopefully, there's lots of levels, and maybe there's a long life to it. When they were talking about sharing this, like, oh, damn, they're gonna have like Twitter or Instagram integration. No, just upload it to your.
You can share your photos via the you can share them to Twitter through the Switch anyway. Like,
do you really think a Japanese company's going to go that far with thinking about its integration into social medias and shit?
Yeah.
No.
Anything's possible in the year 2021 in our gods. Kieran, do you care about Pokemon Snap?
Not really. Like, I never played the original, so look, you get to take pickies of your favorite cuties. It's sure.
Not hardcore enough for you.
Nah, there's no like competitive ranking system or anything in it.
Well, there is really though. There's a ranking system for your photographs, so step your game up, son. Next thing they showed off, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl, remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, coming to the Nintendo Switch in late 2021. I think the interesting thing about this, the big takeaway was that it is a nicer looking, like if you do comparison shots of the original game to this one, it does look quite a big upgrade. And I think people just kind of forget what the original looks like. Of course, it's keeping to the same style of what I guess we'll now be referring to as like OG Pokemon style game or whatever. So it hasn't done anything drastic. I want to play this because Diamond and Pearl was actually where I took a break for several generations. Like that is literally the stop point for me. Diamond and Pearl.
This was the last ones that I properly played.
Okay.
Like I got Black and White after this, but like my Cyndaquil was like the bomb. Cyndaquil was like my last kind of favorite starter Pokemon.
Cyndaquil's fucking silver. Gold.
Is it really? I just see Cyndaquil in the trailer. That's what got me confused.
Cyndaquil's in no, come on.
It's in like the second one.
Cyndaquil's heart. Yeah, it's gold and silver. All right, then I didn't play Pearl and Diamond that much. Then. I tried to be involved in the conversation. I'm going to go back to not being involved.
So this was the stopgap. I remember this is the one where for whatever reason I never actually picked them up the year they came out, and I took my 5-year break away from Pokemon or whatever it ended up being. So I'm keen to get this nonetheless. Now I though my one big kind of like disappointment was I was hoping for a continuation of the Let's Go brand or whatever the genre or whatever you want to call it, of that sort of, because the thing with Let's Go Pikachu Eevee was, like it had the battling and everything like that, but it made the catching of the Pokemon a lot easier because it had the whole sort of integration of the Pokemon Go where you just throw the ball and that sort of stuff. And obviously a lot of people liked that, a lot of people didn't. Super easy to get into. It added a more casual flavor to the sort of game. I would have preferred maybe instead of doing a remake, they'd done it in that sort of style. Personally, I'm going to play it either way, but I kind of would have preferred that. And also, if they did a Let's Go Diamond Pearl, even though a lot of people wanted Let's Go Silver Gold or whatever that would have been called, you would have got a better graphic style, even though everyone complained about the graphic style when that game came out. But it would have looked a lot better in my opinion. So either way, it's cool. I know a lot of people consider Diamond and Pearl one of top 3 favorite Pokemon games and stuff. So that's cool. I will be looking for the play dates when we get date. I'm going to presume November. They just haven't confirmed it, but I'm just going to chuck out and presume November.
Likely, yeah. That would be in line with all the other ones.
Yeah, that's usually when they drop. So the
right before Christmas.
Yes, which is where all the kiddies ask for it to be put in their stockings. All right, so the last thing and the key thing shown off was obviously the most exciting, which was the announcement of Pokemon Legends Arceus, I think is how we're supposed to say this. That's what I'm going with, right? Pokemon Legends Arceus. Arceus? No, Arceus sounds better. So first and foremost, this is being developed by Game Freak, which the remakes of Diamond and Pearl are not. So Game Freak, this is the next, if you want to call it like the continuation of the Pokemon franchise. This is where the Pokemon franchise is heading. And this is a really interesting direction to take the franchise from a couple key points. Firstly, it is, from all accounts, from what we can see, and everything they've said in a press release and blog post and everything, this is the game people have kind of been wanting for. This is the proper Pokemon open world game. So this isn't like Pokemon Sword and Shield where you've got the wild area, which is an open area, but it's not a proper open world game because in between the wild area and the towns you had your typical Route 56, Route fucking 77 and that sort of stuff. This is supposedly just a straight up open world game to the point someone did a comparison on Twitter last night where they literally in this trailer do the exact same shot they did in the Breath of the Wild trailer where there's someone standing on a hill and the camera like zoomed up past and just shot. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
All that sort of stuff. It's like, look at this massive world and stuff. The trailer starts with the trainer literally like dodge rolling into a bush before throwing a Pokeball at a Pokemon in the wild to attempt to capture it and this sort of stuff. So the trailer does a really good job of being like, hey, look, you're kind of off the guardrails here. Like the guardrails have disappeared. You're on the free track here. You're bowling alone at this point. The other cool thing, and the thing that interests me the most, because as much as like an open world Pokemon game has sort of always intrigued me, I've always been a bit wary of being like, well, how does that work? Like I always felt like Pokemon, it needed the barriers to kind of like keep it on the track to make all the mechanics of those games make sense and make and work and funnel you down where you need to go and keep the different types of Pokemon in different areas separated and stuff. It just made the game probably flow easier and whatever else. But the thing that interests me the most about this is it's sort of for the first time they're delving back. They're going, okay, what was Pokemon like back in the heyday? What was the world of Pokemon like before gyms were invented, before Nurse Joy and whoever, all these people that modern Pokemon you think about, modern Pokemon mechanics from both the games and the anime, all that sort of stuff. It's like, forget all that. So the game is basically, from what it looks like, it's like feudal Japan, but Pokemon.
I think they, in the press
Pokemon.
release, it said it was the feudal era.
Yeah. And it's like feudal
Yeah.
Japan, but Pokemon. In the blog post, they say the town that you see in the trailer, you will be coming back to that constantly. So it seems like that place is literally just going to be the town that you, I guess, will get bigger or something and like progress as you get further into the game and these sorts of things. Other than that, and because they said there's no gyms, the core goal of the game, and I guess all Pokemon games have the same core goal, but usually have other things along the way. But your core goal of this game is literally to make the first Pokedex, or the Sinnoh region Pokedex. So it's like, well, there's no gym badges to get. There's none of that. So I presume there's going to be like bad guys still or something along those lines. But I think it's really interesting, really unique direction to take the franchise. I think it's the whole Pokemon Legends sub-brand or whatever you want to call it. Like if that's something they continue going forward and they'll explore different regions, history, and that sort of stuff, that's like a really interesting direction that the Pokemon franchise can take for the next 5+ years, easy 5 to 10 years. So
It's
that could be really cool.
So, you might have missed it. I might have missed it. This is the Sinnoh region, is it already, or which region was this?
Yes.
Yes, I think it said Sinnoh in the article I read. Where it's interesting that they're not starting with like Kanto or anything like that. They're going to Sinnoh first, which I think means that I would be interested to see all the regions connected, though. Like eventually, like there be more than one region in a game.
I mean, that's the MMO game that everyone dreams of, the Pokemon MMO game that everyone dreams of, I guess, yeah. So the other interesting thing is, so it's creating Sinnoh's first Pokedex, but the other interesting thing is that the 3 starter Pokemon that you get to pick from for this game are all from different regions. So you can either pick from a Rowlet from the Lola region, Cyndaquil from the Johto region, or an Oshawott.
This is where I got the
This is where you got
Cyndaquil.
This is
Cyndaquil
where you got
from.
This is where I got Cyndaquil.
Or an
This is-
Oshawott from the Unova region to start your journey in this game with. So you're not picking a local Pokemon at all, which I don't know. Like, to me, the fact that you're not picking a local Pokemon, they say the professor brought them while he was exploring other places or something like that. It just makes me sound like maybe this game really is like early days. You're part of the people, the first land in the Sinnoh region or something. Like there's literally no one knows anything about the place to the degree, and the Pokemon you're bringing over with you are from a different region and stuff. So I think this is super exciting.
Destroying the ecosystem. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Pokemon. As soon as you go down that road, you get into the whole it's dogfighting and all that sort of stuff, which I've been hearing since I was fucking 12 at this point. Yeah, I think it looks really cool. Everything from design and everything. My one big thing is going to be, okay, we kind of need that Switch 2 or the Switch Pro at this point, because big, massive open world Pokemon game, going to make the Switch chug at 20 frames per second or something like that. I'm like, maybe it's time for that. Hopefully it's time for that upgrade before this arrives. They said early 2022 for this one. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm possibility that Nintendo does launch an upgraded Switch this year. So anything's possible. Ash, what did you make of this?
Well, on that note, I think if they were going to release a Switch Pro or whatever, this would be the game to release it with. Because it is the one everyone thinks they want. I just, it looks interesting.
You had a hot take on Twitter that no one liked. So
yes.
Fuck you.
Yeah, nobody liked it. I will say, I just think, I'm just concerned that people are overhyping this. People screaming, it's going to be the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon. It's an action RPG type of Pokemon game. I don't know where you're getting most of that from. You've seen a minute a trailer. Maybe keep your expectations low and then be surprised when it comes out. But
You keep your expectations mild. I feel like
Yeah.
there's the argument of don't get excited about anything so you won't be let down. I think people should be allowed to be excited, but just keep your
But
reins in.
I mean, how many times have Pokemon hurt you in the past already? So
I don't know, Pokemon hasn't hurt me yet. I know it hurts Pokemon fans literally yearly, so I don't know why they keep playing the games, to be honest. But that's that's the whole thing. And I'm sure everyone complained about the Diamond and Pearl games this year, and they're not complaining about this one. And Nintendo fucked them on this, Nintendo fucked them on that.
Why you guys gotta fuck me?
This bloody game that's set 100 years before the other Pokemon games. Why doesn't it have the full Pokedex?
Why? Why does it not even have a Pokedex? Well, this game can't actually have a Pokedex.
Yeah, that was
because electricity hasn't been figured out yet.
Well, fuck it.
He's scrolling them down. Maybe the book is actually a book of him writing down.
I mean, maybe I put a picture in the article about the Pokeball they had on the website, and it's got. I like all the little details they're doing, like the Pokeball.
It's like the wooden ball. It's like wooden.
Yeah, it's like a bamboo Pokeball. It's cool. I like all the subtle.
Where did that technology come from? Is they going to explore that? And I guess other than catching Pokemon, what are you going to do in this game?
You're battling.
It's like traditional. What do you else do?
Yeah, but why?
What do you mean why?
What else do you do in Pokemon games? There's like story moments randomly. Some lost their bike or some shit. You gotta.
But if it's the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon, then what are you doing?
Well, exploring, meeting people.
Yeah, I'm gonna hope / presume it's as simple as just go out, explore. There's gonna be random encounters and missions, but it's not gonna have your typical game structure, is what I would hope at this stage. I think you can run into other people. I still think you could have an atypical rival that the professor sends out as well that's trying to complete the Pokedex before you. Like, I still think that whole thing works within the confines of this game. So,
is there going to be levels?
Yes, I think so.
Is there going to be levels? Yes, there's a screenshot where
for Pokemon.
Yes, so there is a screenshot and you can see it in the trailer where they were explaining that. So you know how in the trailer they throw a Pokeball at someone to catch it. So if you want to do that, that's how you can try to catch a Pokemon. If you want to start a battle with a Pokemon, you select the Pokeball with the Pokemon you want to send in the battle, and you literally aim and throw it next to the Pokemon you want to battle, and it'll initiate a typical Pokemon battle where it goes into that's the one thing this game's keeping. It is, and looks like, straight up typical Pokemon thing on screen. 4 moves.
That's disappointing.
Left-hand side screen,
awesome
level, health.
Red Dead Redemption type.
No.
Another Pokemon comes charging in from the side.
No. See, that's the one thing I'm glad it's not changing. I'm like, I don't want Pokemon Kingdom Hearts battling. I don't want to be running around and like initiating attacks while dodging Thunderbolts.
You don't want to be playing as the Pokemon.
No, yeah, I think it's fine to be keeping the. Like, that's why they made the Stadium series, And they put one out on Switch, like in the first year of the Switch. So for people who want to battle as the Pokemon, play the Stadium games or whatever I say.
Pokken Tournament.
Yeah, you got all that shit. Go for gold. Kieran, did you have any thoughts on this? Would you care about this? Were you intrigued by this?
I look forward to this. I think this is a cool idea. I like Pokemon's lore as a whole is really interesting. I always think there's deeper levels of storytelling to Pokemon that I've always loved that hasn't always been explored in the normal mainline games just because of kind of what age group it's generally kind of aimed for. But I'd love this to be a bit more mature in its storytelling and narrative styles. Not like, I'm not saying make it for adults, but just, don't make it for kids.
Make it for teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. Make it for in the middle.
I guess the last thing to shout out is the Arceus or whatever it's called is in the description on their website. It says, holding the key to this tale is the Pokemon known as Arceus. Arceus is said to have shaped all there is in this world. Just how is this mighty Pokemon connected to your journey? It's an alpha Pokemon. It's normal type. It's 3.2 meters high, and it weighs 320 kilograms. So for a Pokemon we know nothing about, they've somehow managed to weigh it, which is always great. So you get some, you'll lose some. So early 2022, and yes, there's a lot of Pokemon coming up between new Pokemon Snap in a couple months, Then presumably in November you've got the remake, and then this in early 2022. I'd presume early 2022 would mean like what? Maybe May, April, something like that. Probably, I don't know. I'd guess at the moment. Cool, exciting, good stuff. Pokemon. Look forward to it. Looking forward to playing the Pokemon. No reviews this week. Still nothing. One preview though. So played a few hours of Outriders the night before the Pokemon Direct with Ash, with Buddy Watson from Radio Watson. And I wrote up a preview for it. So let's talk a little bit about Outriders. In case you don't know, Outriders is the upcoming game from People Can Fly, who did Gears of War 3, they did Gears of War Judgment, they did Bulletstorm, they co-developed Fortnite Save the World. Some of the things I'm probably forgetting, it's not really important. Anyway, so this is their upcoming game. It is a 3-player co-op PvE looter shooter, third-person looter shooter. And a lot of it, if you've played any of these sorts of games, feels very similar in that you got guns, you get more guns, they have numbers that are slightly higher, you spend half the you don't spend that much time in there, but of course you're periodically going into the menu being like, all right, change your gun. Oh, you get a better helmet. Oh, that's cool. If you're like me, you get a better helmet and you go, well, this helmet looks like shit. Is there the option in the options to turn off showing the helmet on my character because it makes me look like shit? Yes, there was. Good job, game. But the key thing that
should just be a
always on, as far
games.
as my opinion. Yes, I agree. Cool thing about this game is that, and I'm not going to talk about the story because I doubt most people particularly care at this stage, and it's just kind of all over the place. But the cool thing is your character gets like superpowers basically, and you get to pick one of 4 classes. The one I picked is the Pyromancy class. I think whatever it's called, Firestarter or some shit like that. And so basically all my abilities are fire. My L1 was like shoot a flame wall ahead. My L1 R1 ability was I would target an enemy, like sort of pull their energy source out of a fucking fire spell or some shit. And then my R1 would like shoot fire under the ground, and it would come up underneath them and send the enemy flying up into the air, and then they would combust and explode, which was my favorite one because it looked cool. Always looked cool to see the enemies exploding. And all the other 3 classes are all very varied. Like Ash was playing as someone who like dropped turrets. Buddy was playing as this character that could drop a field that slowed down time, and then you could go in and like sort of samurai sword fucking slice them and shit. So when I was combining all of our powers, I was like, this is the fun part of this game. Like when you're using all the powers, like Ash's turrets like freezing enemies, and then I'm like setting them on fire and then they're fucking exploding. I'm like, that's some good shit. That is exciting. I like this. The gunplay, not bad, not great. It just feels like guns. It definitely feels like this game's like guns do damage, but use all your abilities. And all the abilities aren't on like long time cooldowns either. This game very much feels like it's encouraging you to use your abilities whenever you've got them. Like just go fucking hand. There's no like, oh, save your ultimate for the boss fight. It's like, no, just fucking use your abilities. So I feel like if you've played any of these sorts of games, you can kind of picture it. I think it's a combination somewhere between The Division and Mass Effect, and that's because it's a cover-based third-person shooter that kind of feels like Division shooting. But then all the power-ups and stuff makes it feel like Mass Effect with the different sorts of tech abilities and stuff that you would have when you were playing Mass Effect if you've played Mass Effect, especially Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect 3's multiplayer to a degrry. So it kind of feels like a hybrid of those. The one key thing I like about this game, and the thing that has me intrigued to see where it could go, is it wants you to play super aggressive. And I think this is the one that kind of makes it stand out from these other games. So your health, it's not like it's definitely not The Division where it's like, hey, you're low health, retreat, take a second, heal up, health will regenerate, maybe snipe some enemies, get back into the cover. This game is every single class has different ways to recover health, and all of them are based on hitting enemies. Like doing damage to enemies. So it's like, are you low health? Cool. Well, how about you get the fuck in there and you use some, like my class's abilities passive to get health was use my abilities on enemies, and then while they're on fire, if I shoot them, I get health returned. So the amount of times I'd be on like 10 HP and I'd be like, oh fuck, cast fire spell, like shotgun, like try and hit them to get health back. I really like, because as I wrote in my preview, it kind of reminded me of playing Bloodborne, where Bloodborne is literally every time you got hit in Bloodborne, there was a 3-second gap or whatever, where if you hit enemies back between that 3 seconds after you took damage, you could actually get health back. So Bloodborne was very much like encourage you to play way more aggressive than the Demon Souls or Dark Souls games do. So I kind of like that. That's the standout part, I guess, for the game. Of course, the demo only took like an hour to finish or whatever. It's like the first chapter or two, as well as the prologue, which was just 15-20 minutes of story jank, to be honest, but we got through it. I'm intrigued. I'm not blown away. I think there's some cool ideas here. I think it's very linear game design so far, where it's very much like hallway shooter to a degree, even if it's in open areas. It doesn't look particularly pretty. There's not a particularly interesting art design. Like, it's very brown in these levels we played. Like, it's just like typical bullshit. But when we was combining powers and shooting, I'm like, I could have fun playing this in co-op. I could see myself enjoying this. Ash, what do you think of the time we play?
Yeah, like a lot of what you said, obviously, it definitely feels like those sort of games. I don't think the shooting mechanics were that great, but yeah, a lot of the power-ups and that kind of thing were really good. Obviously, played the Technomancer, threw down like turrets, and they had like a missile launcher, like a pull-out, and I think the other one was like, I think I was the only character, but like grenades. So,
yes, I think you was, yes.
So that was the thing. I think, it's interesting. I think I like the lore stuff maybe a little bit more than you.
I didn't hate it. I just felt like it was a lot. Like, it was just...
It was a lot to get through that first, I think. If you didn't skip like through it, it was like a good half hour or so of story explaining the world and that kind of thing, which, I mean, it was kind of interesting and different. Well, maybe not that different to other things we've seen before. But not a lot on offer there. I think the other thing that stood out to me was obviously the boss fights didn't feel...
They weren't easy?
Much. Obviously, a screen came up at some point trying to explain some sort of resistances and stuff, but I felt like we just went and just fired at the enemy as long as possible until eventually it died.
So I guess that's one of the...
Just kept throwing attacks at it until...
From what I could understand, and of course we're playing a demo, so it's not like I could... like rewind, give me another go at that type thing to understand. But it's like anytime you enter a boss fight, they're going to cast spells at you, because the boss fights are also super powered type beings. And it comes up that they're going to cast it, and then you basically have to use one of your abilities to counteract them before they cast it to stop them. Whereas if they get to cast too many, eventually triggers a barricade, like a barrier for them, where you can't deal damage for them. So you got to try and interrupt their spells with your spells, and then to stop them from basically being untouchable and not being able to take damage, which I kind of liked. I was trying to do it. I didn't bother trying to because I was like, if we're all shooting, I'm sure this thing will die eventually. Like, its health's going down one way or another.
Its health's going down,
Its health's going down. But like the last boss fight, the big boss fight we did in the demo before the demo ended, I was like, we were all pretty much for the entire fight being like, fuck, I'm nearly dead. Fuck, I'm nearly dead. Fuck, I'm nearly dead. Because everything in this game hurts. And I think that's because, as I was saying, like,
hell's so easy to get.
It's like, well, everything hurts you and it wants you to go in and shoot shit to get it back. So it's kind of like that. And I kind of like that. But yeah, when you're doing that boss fight, it's like, it casts this lightning storm or whatever across the ground, and you got we're rolling around trying to dodge it and shit like that. And every time one touched me, I'd lose like half my HP. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, this thing's bullshit. And yeah, I mean, that's the other thing with this game is even though it is a cover shooter and there's lots of cover, there's also early in the game they're like, oh yeah, here comes about 10, 15 melee enemies that just come out of nowhere and storm you. So it does that. Yeah. It does that.
And they're not dumb.
No.
They don't just wait and let you pick them off.
No.
They charge at you.
They charge at you, and you've got to fucking run, and you got to sort of kite them around to shoot them. So it's like sort of anti-division, where it does that thing where it's like, oh, the enemies, there's like 10, there's one of you. It's like, why don't they just all run at you? Like, it's like, what? That would make sense. That would be silly. Yeah. Any other comments?
No. I think you covered most of it. Definitely something. There's enough there to keep me interested. And I think you just posted at time of recording a tweet that up on Amazon at $69 at the moment. So if you want to get the full game, when's it coming out?
April 1st is when it comes out.
It's not too far away.
No,
not too far away. I don't know if there's any other big titles.
Not then, I don't believe. No. It is everything. I should clarify because of course I was talking about the PS5 control of the L1 R1 bullshit, but it is on Xbox, it is on PC. The demo I think is still available when this publishes, so you can try the demo out PC, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever you want to do. Free demo. The demo is it's pretty cool demo. Like it's literally the game up until
It's
a point.
a pretty meaty taste.
Yeah, and your save carries over from the demo to the full game. So I kind of like how they're doing that. None of this, your save gets deleted.
And then you could also try out all the different classes. You can create the old 4 different characters and like play through that same section. Definitely. One to check out. I think
Any of this?
Would it be as fun without people to play it with?
I think it would be harder without people to play it with. Assuming it's the same sort of enemy types and that kind of.
Yeah, I'm going to say all these sorts of games are way less fun to play by yourself, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely designed for co-op, and it's definitely designed for the way Will's playing it, where we're all using our abilities and enemies are fucking exploding. Like, you can't have that by yourself. Like, you can't have the combination of freezing time, freezing an enemy, setting them on fire, watching them explode. Like, you can't do that by yourself. So, definitely designed for 3 players, even though when you're playing the story together, it does that thing where you're in a 3-man team and then it goes to a cutscene. It's like, well, it's just your character now suddenly. Like they're just, all these other people just magically disappeared.
I think there might have been like one cutscene where you were in the background, like when I blow a door open. It's like, there he is.
I exist. But yeah, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. I've been watching all the whatever dev things they've been doing since last year. I've always been mildly interested. I like the demo fine. Didn't blow me away. Didn't really disappoint me. It was exactly what I kind of thought it was going to be. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, interesting to see some of the debate online about I'm not going to play this game because I'm a big Division fan, and
is that a thing?
Destiny 2. No, like Destiny 2 versus Outriders.
Really? Because it feels like it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this would be more competition for Marvel's The Avengers.
This is more in line with either Avengers or Borderlands 3. That sort of stuff.
I wouldn't compare it to Destiny.
No.
So much.
Like unless they add it, this is solely PvE. So, like, I know it has a hub world with shops and stuff like that, but there's no...
That you said look like...
Yeah, the hub world literally just, to me, looks exactly like Anthem's hub world, which I thought was kind of funny, but, like, given the news cycle, so it's kind of interesting. All right, let's jump into the news for this week, and let's kick it over to Kieran's Corner, the CC, as I like to call it. So, BlizzCon, no, what they officially call it? I said it before and I forgot. BlizzConline. BlizzConline.
BlizzConline.
What a shitty fucking thing. So, they announced some Diablo things. They didn't really announce anything particularly groundbreaking, at least from my side, the fans, when it came to anything. But I know Kieran was... he brought his ticket so he could watch, but more importantly, to get his Overwatch skin. So,
I did get the skin. The skin was pretty good.
Walk us through what took your attention from BlizzCon. And what the takeaways were.
I guess the main point. So, it was a bit odd that Overwatch wasn't actually featured in the opening ceremony for Blizzard. That was mainly focused on the up-and-coming arcade games that are coming out, bits and pieces for Burning Crusade Classic, for World of Warcraft, Diablo 4, of course, and of course the remake for Diablo 2 that is coming. But yeah, so that was already a bit of a warning sign. But the Overwatch panel, or Overwatch 2 Behind the Scenes, I believe it was called, was interesting as an Overwatch fan, because going into this, nobody knew really what's going on with Overwatch as a game right now. Previously, Overwatch fans had been told that Overwatch 2 was going to be like a kind of alternative version of Overwatch, that Overwatch 2 was going to kind of expand onto the original Overwatch game and increase that and build upon that. And so, since we heard about that, only one new character has come out, Echo. And then since then, had been for the last 12 months, Overwatch players had been under the impression that you're not really getting any more content till Overwatch 2 came out. Then started this year, they had the Activision kind of business call where it kind of came out that don't expect either Diablo or Overwatch 2 to be out this year. And everybody was a bit on edge, a bit worried in terms of Overwatch community, because what does that mean for the current game Overwatch? Does that mean we're going to end up getting some content? Is it just going to be contentless? Everybody's like, okay, we have to wait till BlizzCon. BlizzCon, the Overwatch 1, the game itself was not mentioned once. It was all discussion about Overwatch 2 and the team's kind of focus on Overwatch 2, which we'll get to in a second. So that means that for Overwatch fans, it's just like, okay, you've got at least another 12 months of this game.
Oh, nothing.
Of little to no content, no new characters, minimal to no new maps, which is somewhat worrying because obviously for maintaining a player base and a community and a growing esports, it's not fantastic. But I guess on the other side of that, Blizzard have been very hardworking on updates and patches for the games in terms of mechanical patches and balancing of the game. But on the upside, looking at Overwatch 2 is a larger undertaking than probably most fans thought of beforehand. And it's now been kind of more outlined that Overwatch 2 is going to be its own standalone thing. It's not going to be an expansion for Overwatch 1. It's going to be a whole, you need to get Overwatch 2 to play Overwatch 2 by the sounds of it. Which is interesting, which means that I'm likely get the feeling this isn't going to be free to play. And the free to play model is going to probably get put onto Overwatch 1 just so people can keep playing that for free if they want to. But Overwatch 2 is completely being rebuilt from the ground up in terms of adding new maps. They showed off 2 new maps, Rome and New York. Discussing how characters are being altered in terms of all of the roles from support, tank, which is now going to be renamed Brawler, and DPS all get these kind of passives to their character. So tanks will kind of give less ulti charge for damage done to them. DPS will move a bit faster. Supports will get to heal themselves kind of in between fights. And then also talking about different aspects of the game as a whole in terms of the competitive side, where it's going to be characters are going to get retuned, and the example they gave was Reinhardt's going to get 2 fire strikes instead of his current 1. He's going to have the ability to cancel his charge, which in the scheme of things is actually pretty big changes for that character, and shows that they're going to be looking at current characters as well as new characters. We've got a little bit more information about Sojourn, the newest character that we know. It is rumored that on release of Overwatch 2, there's going to be 5 new characters. We didn't get any kind of confirmation or any news about the kind of new characters other than Sojourn. And then, of course, a whole list of new character designs. They're going to remodel all the characters that they currently have, as well as changing up the game modes. There is a game mode called 2CP or 2 Control Points, which sounds like it's just getting scrapped from Overwatch 2 that's currently kind of the most hated game type in Overwatch 1, and replaced with a new game mode and looking at those game modes in general and seeing how they can improve. And then they went on to the PvE side. The Overwatch is getting this massive PvE section of the game.
Story mode.
Where people can... Pardon?
It was a story mode, wasn't it?
It's pretty much a story mode, yeah. So they're called hero battles, I think they call them, where it's going to be more about you get to play as characters on different missions. Each character has different skill trees and different ability routes and different ways that they change them within the PvP mode. There's going to be a whole different story. They are wanting to build on these hero battles. They're going to want to add more. They seem very focused on the hero battles overall. So looking back at it from my point of view, I'm not as negative on this. I don't mind having to wait another year personally. I really enjoy Overwatch as it is still now. I guess there is a decent amount of people kind of petering off the game a little bit. But with the amount they're bringing out for Overwatch 2, going from rebuilding the sound design from the ground up and stuff like that, it's a very big undertaking. They're not just kind of importing everything directly from Overwatch 1 and then just adding a few bits and pieces. It seems like there is a large undertaking being kind of taken here. I was disappointed / surprised that there was no new animation at this BlizzCon for Overwatch. There was, I think it's now almost been 2 years or something since the last one. Well, it'd be a bit over a year and a half since the last one. So it is an interesting time to be an Overwatch fan. I think it's going to be a long year. Overwatch League is just about to start in the next couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to that especially. And I think Overwatch 2 actually looks kind of like it looks like it's going to reinvigorate the game. Just when it comes out is going to be the major kind of point for it as a survivability going forward.
Not this year.
No,
So
definitely
that's
not.
that's the key.
No, possibly the beta. The beta might be this year.
Oh.
But I would see them kind of trying to aim for like at the earliest May next year.
I feel like, honestly, I'll be surprised if it's out before BlizzCon next year. The way they were talking about it, I would be quite shocked. So
I don't think it could last almost 2 years. I think they're gonna have a bit more trouble if it's almost 2
they're
years.
in trouble.
Yeah, well, they are. But
Are they?
yeah.
Aren't they just still making money off people buying Overwatch skins?
Well, you don't. Well, yes and no.
There's all
Overwatch
the
is
Kieran's
still-
of the world buying their stuff without any real return.
Yeah, just maybe.
So you just get,
maybe.
or you just need 2-3 whales, and then you're all good, right?
Let their skins carry over.
I'm sure that as a whole, Overwatch is still doing perfectly fine financially. I think it would take a fair bit to kind of knock that out of its margin, especially with them having seasonal events. Every now and then they'll throw Overwatch a bone and drop like a random like free-for-all map or something into the game. But I don't think, it is a little bit sad. I thought maybe originally before going into this, when I thought Overwatch 2, as they had originally kind of sold it, was just going to be an expansion to Overwatch 1. I thought it was going to be like they were just going to be like, okay, sure, we're just going to release a couple things on Overwatch 1 that we were going to say for Overwatch 2. Now that we know that Overwatch 2 is a completely kind of revamped experience and completely separate to the first one, it's like, oh yeah, that's not happening. So I guess it's a case of they're trying to put as much of their energy and focus into Overwatch 2 as a whole, rather than trying to split it and delay it anymore.
Probably the smarter play, IMO.
Yes, definitely.
How do you feel about, anyone care about the Diablo 2 Resurrected trailer and or look? Would anybody be intrigued in playing this?
I will probably pick it up and play it because Diablo 2 is a fantastic game. At the end of the day, it's still Diablo 2. Like, it's nothing, It's Blizzard's mantra right now is we're working on new stuff. Let's give people old stuff to bide their time a bit and kind of chew on a little bit so they don't feel... They did it with like WoW Classic coming out like a year or two ago now. We're getting Burning Crusade Classic again now. It seems to be, especially for World of Warcraft, it almost seems like the new cycle is going to be like in between each WoW expansion, there's going to be a Classic get brought out to try and kind of keep people within their ecosystem for longer. It's just, it just seems to be the case with Blizzard at the moment. I'm not loving it. I wish Activision could keep its grubby paws off Blizzard a little bit more and keep Blizzard as Blizzard, but with the reports of how successful Call of Duty is and them wanting to push that into Blizzard side of things a little bit more, it is worrying as a Blizzard fan, I will say, to the least.
And I know it wasn't much. It's not really anything, but like I did feel like the cinematic road class trailer thing was, I mean, it's literally just a cinematic, but Diablo. Blizzard, of course, are known for doing very good cinematics, and this was just another really cool cinematic. But again, I was like, oh my god, how much effort for this? Like, if you keep making these cool cinematics and now it's fucking classes within the game, Diablo 4 is literally not going to come out until 2040 or some bullshit, like, oh my god. So it was a cool trailer though. I was like, cool, I guess that's the one mention Diablo 4 in this whole BlizzCon, I guess, but cool story, everyone. Was there anything else from BlizzCon really? It was kind of a non-show really, wasn't it?
It wasn't anything amazing to write home about. I think Blizzard is in a weird spot, as with most of the world, about working from home with the pandemic. Even if they have done a pretty good job in terms of maintaining things during the work from home periods, it was a weird BlizzCon this year, to say the least.
I mean, last year's was weird, and the year before, to be honest.
Well, no, like this was weird for a different reason. Like the last BlizzCon was weird because of the Diablo mobile game announcement bullshit and stuff like that. It was just a bit odd.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Bloodlines 2. That was a game. Let's kick off our...
was a game.
Let's kick off the list of things that have been cancelled this week. So Zach over at Well Played writes, if the development of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 wasn't already in dire straits, it certainly is now, with the game's publisher Paradox Interactive announcing tonight that developer Hardsuit Labs has been relieved of its development duties, and as a result, the game will no longer be launching in 2021. The statement, which you can read in the tweet below, explains that Paradox Interactive believed that a change in development and more development time was needed in order for the game to reach its ambitious goals. There is no new release date, and as such, the game is no longer available for pre-order. Paradox did thank Hardsuit Labs for their hard work it had done on laying the foundations for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. The publisher announced via a report that had begun working with another studio to finish the game's development originally. So, yeah, this game has just been through a lot of trouble behind the scenes. A lot of it seems to stem from possibly, by sounds of it, just shitty workplace conditions and management, unsurprisingly, which seems to be, the cause of a lot of these issues. I gotta say, because I know everyone was just, the general internet consensus for this was to just make jokes and kind of shit on this. So to be, something different. I've said previously I was excited for this. I said when they showed that trailer at the Xbox, Inside Xbox or whatever it is, the one that everyone made fun of, I liked that trailer. I was intrigued with this. I was looking forward to playing this. So I was kind of disappointed by this. Yes, I know we can go back to the whole, it wasn't a next-gen game at the Xbox thing. I know. I don't really care. Like, I thought from all the interviews I'd seen, all the little gameplay ideas they talked about, the little snippets of gameplay they'd actually released, all this sort of stuff, I was intrigued. I was into this.
Mm-hmm.
The art style wasn't trying to be next-gen, fucking blow me away. So I'm kind of a little bit disappointed, but, that's the game development world we live in, I guess. But, yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts on this, or just a bunch of
I'm completely on the same kind of train as you, Dylan, with this one. I was looking forward to Vampire the Masquerade. I was interested in the first game. I never had a chance to go back to the first game, and kind of looking back at it, it's a bit janky, so I was excited to have an experience that was new and up to date to dive into and get into it, because all of the dice rolling and randomized aspects of that game sound fantastic. And it's sad that the gaming world has lost another one of these games to this. I hope it makes a recovery and we get something of the similar along the line, but right now it's disappointing as a fan.
Ash, you just got jokes, or?
No, I mean, it obviously for people who are interested in it, obviously it's disappointing. Obviously it's been long in turmoil, and I can't imagine that it will turn around. I can't think of any example of a game that's been taken from one studio and given to another studio and been, successful.
Yeah, we'll just have to look for something else to really dig our teeth into.
Yeah,
good job. You sent it home there. All right, move.
Lucky there's no shortage of bloody games.
Yeah,
am I right?
Yeah. No. let's stop there.
And no shortage of games in the Masquerade or Dark Universe, whatever they call it.
It's the World of Darkness is the universe.
Yeah, the World of Dark. There's no shortage of those games.
They have announced about 20 recently, so that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, next game that got cancelled officially this past week was Anthem. So Kotaku writes, Anthem development has been cancelled. BioWare Austin studio director Christian Daly announced today, saying, quote, I know this will be disappointing to the community of Anthem players who have been excited to see the improvements we've been working on. It's also disappointing for the team who were doing brilliant work. And for me personally, Anthem is what brought me to BioWare, and the last 2 years have been some of the most challenging and rewarding experiences of my career, end quote. Anthem originally released in 2019, BioWare's attempt to glom onto the success of live service games like Destiny. It was certainly heavily criticized for feeling incomplete, forcing BioWare to return to the drawing board in pursuit of a No Man's Sky style reboot. Earlier this month, it was reported that Anthem's publisher EA would soon be making a final decision on whether to continue bankrolling attempts to overhaul the project. Daly's explanation also puts blame on the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, forcing the studio to adapt from working home strategies, not being able to meet expectations. From all accounts, so they were working on Anthem 2.0, the Anthem Next was the official name or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
They've been working on that for well over a year. Apparently it still just wasn't coming together. I think if you read between the lines, the problem was always that Anthem was never close to being done or a complete product when it released. And EA pushed BioWare to release it and said, pretty much, it's a live service game, so we'll fix it once it's out. Now, that may work to some degree, small things, but when you don't really know what the fuck your game is just a mixture of ideas that aren't even really coming together well, and it's not particularly fun, and they then have to literally go back to the drawing board like they never even released a game to try and fix said game. Like, this was never going to turn out. So again, I know some people were really excited for that, like hardcore BioWare fans. Some people really did like playing that game. Some people really were enjoying the lore. So, of course, this is disappointing to them. The only like sort of high ground stance I take on this is nothing against BioWare. It's just completely against EA. And I'm hoping that if anyone's learned a lesson from this, they probably haven't because it's fucking EA.
Well, it's kind of in follow-up stories from this story. It's also come out that the next Dragon Age game will be single-player focused.
No multiplayer.
As apparently EA were pushing for Dragon Age to be a game of service kind of game.
Yes, and that report said that was apparently due to Jedi Fallen Order doing so well without any multiplayer. And they were like, what?
Wow.
That's a thing?
Wow, people actually like these single-player
games. Yeah.
It's very much. I like it how they've gone to like that kind of light of Jedi Fallen Order was why not. Let's just don't look behind the curtain as the flaming pile that is every other.
Don't look at all the other massive single-player games in the industry. Jedi Fallen Order, the one game, it was really successful for us. So we're gonna do more of that.
Hey, what's that over there? No, don't look at Avengers either. Stop looking at Avengers. We'll just keep focused on Jedi Fallen Order.
I think if Avengers had done better, they may have like kept trying to push Anthem.
Yeah, they would have.
Yes, very much so. But I'm very glad. I'm very glad that Dragon Age is going to be kept as a single player experience because it should be.
That being said, I wouldn't be against like a fantasy version of the looter shooter.
A fantasy version of a looter shooter, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't that just WoW?
No, a looter shooter. WoW's an MMO. Come on now.
Yeah, but what's a fantasy looter shooter?
Are you casting spells and you're like, bows and spells with stabs and shit?
Yeah,
I guess you get
better
new
wands
stabs.
and shit.
Yeah.
Isn't that just Diablo?
No, but that's not a looter shooter. That's a.
Yes, it is.
No.
But no,
it's not the same.
I mean, it's kind of like Diablo.
I think Ash is thinking third person,
but with more story, third person story, kind of team up with your buddies.
Is that just Diablo? No,
still sounds very much like Diablo. But Diablo 4 is not coming anytime soon.
Yeah, we need a game that's actually going to release.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if someone started now, they could still
beat the
Diablo,
BioWare game. That's definitely going to release in the next 12 months.
You know what else I kind of hope from this is that EA stops trying to force fucking Frostbite engine on everyone, but I guess that's another.
That's also just stop interfering with the game development in general.
Even though Jedi Fallen Order was on Frostbite and it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. Good. It was in Unreal.
Was it really? Definitely.
They let them.
Respawn do what Respawn want to do.
Yeah. Respawn have literally just been doing what they want since day dot, kind of. They were like, hey, what are you making your first person shooter games in? Are you using Frostbite? No.
No.
What are you making that Jedi game in? Frostbite?
No.
It's like the equivalent of freaking Microsoft Edge on all PCs when you're installing Google Chrome. It's like, you could use Edge. Yeah. It's a new experience. It's like, no.
I always make it sound so good too. They're like, do you know what Edge could do now? I'm like, I don't fucking care.
I don't care. It'll leave me alone.
Yeah.
As long as it does the one important thing, let me download Chrome.
Yeah. I have 2 web browsers installed on my PC. And do I have Edge? Can you uninstall Edge?
No, it's a default.
So I've got it. I've got 3 technically.
Yeah, I think you've got Edge.
I never even think to open it at all. See, so I've got here's why I have Firefox installed solely so I can keep Twitch logged into Explosion Network on Chrome, and then I have Firefox set for my personal Switch. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the system we've got going on. Yeah, good job. We're all clicked onto that one. All right, Polygon talks about a game that may or may not get cancelled eventually. So, upcoming Harry Potter game keeps brewing trouble. Hogwarts Legacy, the upcoming open world Harry Potter video game set in the wizarding world of the 19th century, won't be released until 2022, but the game keeps getting mired in controversy. Last year, publisher Warner Bros. Had to clarify that Harry Potter creator J.K. Rowling wasn't directly involved in the making of this game, following a string of transphobic comments from the author, and now the political views of one of the game's developers has caught the public eye, leading one major community to eschew promotional coverage of the title. The game's latest controversy began when journalist Liam Robertson posted a Twitter thread highlighting that Hogwarts Legacy lead designer Troy Leavitt once kept a YouTube channel full of far-right content. Videos by Leavitt included a defense of men who were accused of sexual harassment, a defense of cultural appropriation, and discussions on whether or not thought crimes are a real thing. Some videos were also sympathetic of the Gamergate movement, which harasses women and marginalized groups in the video game industry under the guise of journalism ethics. The videos are several years old at this point, but they were enough to make headlines, especially since one of the videos claims that publisher Warner Bros. Is apparently aware of Leavitt's channel and political views. Warner Bros. Did not immediately respond for a request for comment. In 2018, Leavitt said that while Warner Bros. Does not endorse things said on his channel, saying, quote, "At least they seem more concerned with making good games than with pushing some kind of social justice agenda, so there is hope." Before any of this unfolded, some of the gaming community already found itself reflecting on whether or not one could ethically support a game that could potentially put money in the pockets of a person who continually uses their platform to mock and dehumanize trans people. Many Harry Potter fans are trying to determine if it's possible to continue enjoying media set in the wizarding world without also tactically endorsing Rowling's views. Rowling, who is called a TERF by some critics, as in a trans-exclusionary radical feminist, is controversial enough of her own that some have decided not to buy the game. But Leavitt's involvement has tipped the scales even further for some. And yes, I would say that is the case. I would say when J.K. Rowling was in the conversation, people said, "But sir, what about the poor developers who I want to support because they did nothing wrong?" And now I go, but he's a bit of a cunt too, isn't he?
but the thing is, right? Are people going to start going through every single development team to just double check that people are
good people?
People aren't doing shitty things. What is the you don't this is kind of like. I get it, he's a dickhead, but at the same time, developers and everybody are going to have to be squeaky clean now and perfect in every way.
I think that here's the line for being squeaky clean, and here's making videos that he was doing. It's literally end of the table. This isn't.
No. But the only thing is, this now sets a precedent. This now sets a precedent
we
for
haven't
people.
Done anything yet, but it could.
It could set a precedent if it gets to a stage where this is now news and people are now going to have going to be looking through developers. It's I get it. He made shitty videos with shitty opinions and they are shit, but even though there's not really a but to it, it's just a weird thing that's happening in today's within the community. Is just my perspective on it.
Ash.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Does one shitty person ruin an entire game for everybody? I don't know. I think obviously it will come down to your own personal beliefs and opinions and how much you can kind of separate the art from the artist and that kind of thing. So, how much you regard the financial elements of the industry and how much money this person's going to get, because really they're probably not going to get much money. They've already been paid for their work and that kind of thing. So, it just, obviously this is not what this game needed. I feel like if this type of person was working on a different kind of game, it would barely register. But
I feel like this is a thing.
The Harry Potter game that
people have gone out of their way. People have gone out of their way to try and find this stuff for it.
It's a YouTube channel. It's not exactly digging through.
Yeah, but who knows? He doesn't use his name in the YouTube channel, and
I think he
you'd
did.
have to search up the LinkedIn profile of everybody working at.
Like, I feel like
studio.
it's a thing that's like, it isn't. This wouldn't be noticed if it wasn't for the fact that, as Ash said, if it wasn't for the fact that this was a Harry Potter game and people were using the defense of, oh, but the development team doesn't deserve to be punished for this. And then so people have gone, okay, we'll find a development person that does deserve to be punished for this.
So his YouTube channel is literally just his name. It's not a username.
I thought it was something else.
It's just literally Troy Leavitt. YouTube.com/Troy Leavitt.
Okay,
so,
my mistake.
So I feel like, because Liam never says. So Liam Robertson, right? So let's look at his thread real quickly. The person who found this, right? Firstly, he just posted a picture of all the thumbnails, and the thumbnails are fucking hilarious. It's like look, it's like the quartering light thumbnails. You know, we're not quite there, but they're reaching that. And he says, "I know this is just shocking, but the lead designer of Hogwarts Legacy is Troy Leavitt, a far-right YouTuber who used to make anti-fem and pro-Gamergate videos." He then continues the thread saying, "I want to make something clear here. I'm not trying to cancel anyone. I just..."
No, but you are. You are, though.
Is he?
Why? You can't say you're not if you're just putting this stuff out there.
No. All right, let me finish the post. I'm not trying... I want to make something clear here. I'm not trying to cancel anyone. I just wanted to let people know this because I feel like it's something people might like to know before deciding whether or not to support this project. This is all public info and there for anyone to find.
How is that not cancelling somebody? Like, I don't
think you can.
In today's society, people are going to cancel over that shit.
I mean, posting something that's on YouTube isn't like you haven't cancelled anyone. You're just sharing information. No. Like, what's your definition of?
What is the definition of cancelling somebody?
Well, no one ever gets cancelled is the thing. So, like,
cancelling is a lie.
Cancelling, in my opinion, is basically a fucking lie because no one ever gets cancelled. Like, everyone goes, "You cancelled them." They're still posting videos.
I mean,
they're still making
that's
money.
Not true. Some people do get cancelled.
Very rare cases. But
like Kevin Spacey, you haven't seen him work in anything recently, have you? Except his own YouTube videos.
Now, do we think that's probably a good decision given why he's not working in Hollywood anymore?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that sometimes it works.
That was a court case. That was more than just I found a Kevin Spacey YouTube channel. Someone's like, he sexually touched me, and I'm a young kid. I don't know,
but we've seen other cases of people like making a dumb tweet and then getting fired from their job and that kind of thing. I think that's the definition of cancelled, like screwing with your own personal life away from what you do on the internet, which is justified in many examples. But yeah, I don't think you can go, I don't mean to cancel this person, but bring up these things that will definitely bring up a certain part of the audience that will go after this person with the intent of cancelling that person. But yeah, I don't know. It's all murky.
This is like saying that people sharing Gina Carano's tweets was trying to cancel her, right? That's so. If you're saying that,
yeah, they were trying to cancel her.
Yeah,
they were trying to cancel her.
I mean, yeah,
and justifiably in that example.
Like that's. Yeah. But the thing is, right? Don't lead the tweet with "I'm not trying to cancel anybody." Yeah. Because I feel like just say, "Hey, look." Just say the rest of the tweet. Just say the rest of the tweet without the "I'm not trying to cancel somebody," because that is like an obvious outcome from what you're doing. I get trying to warn people and trying to make.
But how do you post this without people saying you're trying?
It's like saying, "I don't mean to offend, but I don't want to offend you, but," and like then if you proceeding know that to offend you.
Yeah, if you know that what the information that you have could possibly lead to somebody getting cancelled, you can't clear that out by saying I don't.
The reason I don't really believe in cancelling is because it's to a degree it's very and this isn't
because everything's cancelling now, isn't it?
Yes,
because the thing is
it's lost its meaning.
Yes, like everything that everyone does every time this stuff happens, it's some form of cancelling. Oh, you're cancelled. You're cancelled. They're cancelled. Fucking everyone's cancelled. Like it's kind of lost all.
The only thing that gets cancelled
TV shows
is Anthem.
Oh, yeah. but you know, like so Gina Carano. Every time that people shared her tweets and would at Disney and go, "Look at this motherfucker," people go, "Why are you trying to cancel her?" And those people were always like, well, I really like this show and she's a piece of shit. So they were straight up just like, I don't want her working there. And even though I wasn't tweeting those things, that's exactly how I felt. So I kind of on board. And if that's how I felt about Gina Carano, that's how I feel about this situation. You know what I mean? Like, so I see people going, Gina Carano is transphobic and among other things, piece of shit. And when we was doing Mandalorian season 2, I kept having to be like trying to just forget that to watch the show. And I feel like I did a good job for the most part of just like kind of focusing on it. Luckily, because she's not like in every episode. So that kind of helped, obviously. But I talked about when we did the Mandalorian, how anytime she showed up, I was just like, kind of like just deflated me a bit. And I 100% don't care. I guess I wanted her cancelled. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't really care. Yes, I did want her cancelled. Would I want J.K. Rowling cancelled from her own property? Yes. Do I think this person should be cancelled from the lead designer job? Yes. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, why is cancelling is such a... Everyone throws it around as a... it's always bad. When most of the time it's
just
good.
Become the,
well, that's in your opinion with your stand and morals,
Yeah.
Like I just think it sets a precedent that it now sets a precedent, which there already was, I guess, in terms of what you say and do online. But now it means that every developer now needs to start
unless
going
you're
through
posting
people's social media.
absolute crazy shit like this, what you have to worry about. This is the same as people like.
Unfortunately, that wasn't crazy shit. I'm not going
to call out exact which family members, but
incident.
I've had a family member go, "Mom, how are you supposed to pick up girls these days when you can't even talk to them at work anymore without getting a sexual accusation case?" And I was like, "Well, unless you're fucking trying to rape someone, you're okay."
This is look at this point, it's like people now have to be very careful with what part of their opinions and beliefs they put online. Because even if your opinion's right, if your opinion is different to the acceptable opinion or the social opinion, I'm not saying these opinions right or it should have been a thing or anything like that. It's wrong. But it's just like we're getting to a point now where it's like you can't. People need to either, if you feel this way, stop speaking about it.
So I
understand. I understand what he's saying is bad, but then this starts becoming a thing where more people start bending this to other people's opinions in general when they disagree with things.
I'm gonna say that you're doing a very surface level look at this, and you're going, "Oh, his stuff can't be that bad." Like, cause
no, I'm not. I understand his stuff's bad.
Like, it is.
I'm not
terrible.
My thing that frustrates me is that it's terrible. But the thing that frustrates me is now the precedent this sets.
Yeah, the correct precedent, though. Like, in my opinion, that's what I don't like. What is the bad? So let me meet in the middle here. There's only one case where I've seen someone attempt to get cancelled wrongly. And they've come back, and I was on their side the entire time but this is no different than I will always believe women, and if 1 out of 100 cases is a woman lying,
no,
then I'm still always going to believe women, right? So
this now sets a precedent that fans are now going to start going through. If somebody has an opinion or something's wrong with a game, they're just going to start trawling through people's stuff to find somebody to.
But give me, I can't understand, because unless they're posting stuff this bad, they're not going to get cancelled.
But this was years and years ago.
3 years ago.
Like, it's not like he's doing it now.
3 years, yeah.
Did he say it's like
3 years ago? And he got asked about it 2 years ago. And at the time he said, at least Warner Brothers doesn't give a fuck, they're treating me correctly. That was 2 years ago.
It's just, I guess this then becomes a discussion about, like... I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to win this discussion with you. I understand that. So you are. Then there's no winning this discussion. It's not a winning thing.
My example of someone who got incorrectly cancelled was going to be James Gunn, right? So some, I can't remember who it was, some right-wing YouTuber or person was like, "I'm sick of everyone being cancelled. Everyone's being cancelled. I'll show the leftists." So he went through a bunch of leftist directors trying to find dirt on him. And eventually he got to James Gunn, and he scrolled through his Twitter for like 11 years or whatever the fuck it was, and he found a bunch of really bad taste off-tone jokes. And then he posted them all, and of course that's what led to James Gunn getting fired from
Guardians of the
Marvel,
Galaxy Volume
Guardians
3.
Volume 3, and that's why he ended up working with DC, and now he's allowed back to Marvel and all these sorts of things. Now, when that happened, there was not a second where I looked, because it's a case-by-case basis for these things, and that was 100% a case of James Gunn got called out. He went, they're bad. I wouldn't say that today. I apologize. That's not the person I am today. And I went, I believe you, because you don't talk like that at all today. That is 11 years ago. You weren't saying anything particularly racist. They were just kind of off-tone, rapey, sexual that sort of jokes that were...
It was very dark.
It was very dark humor. I wouldn't have laughed at it. If he tweeted that stuff today, I'd be a bit like, eh. Anyway, so that was a case of me being like, this is fucked up. This is someone trying to be like, oh, cancel culture. Anyway, it didn't work out because Marvel flipped their fucking lid, right? Everyone went, you did the wrong thing. And then eventually what happened was they investigated. The case went on 3 to 4 months or whatever. By the time they got done at the end of their investigation, they went, no, you're all right. He's all right. Come make Guardians 3. So like at the end of the tunnel, if you want to bring up an example of like, well, what happens if everyone starts trying to target game developers? Okay, well, if someone did that and someone got incorrectly cancelled, I believe in the system, if you want to call it a system, and I'll say that no one can get incorrectly cancelled because they will, unless you've done something wrong, you can't. Like maybe you'll have a road bump, but you'll be back. You know, like, and if someone has to get incorrectly cancelled to be then forgiven for the 100 other people who have to be correctly cancelled, then I'm sorry, that is the
this trial by public opinion bullshit is actually garbage. I
mean, it's not really a trial. That's the thing.
It kind of is though in public, in like the surrounding public eye of things. I don't know. It's a way more. It's a conversation that's way more than just beyond game development and on a games podcast.
If Warner Brothers wants to keep him employed, that's their choice. But the reason, let me boil it down. Why I'm okay with this? Warner Brothers can do what they want. They're a fucking company. They can employ whoever they want. That I believe that's their choice. I believe any company can employ the most racist, bigoted people they want, and that's their right. Right? That's what I believe. That's the free world we live in different countries where we can have those choices. Go for fucking gold. But within that same account, what I also believe is that if someone makes a YouTube channel, uses their real fucking name, and then does a bunch of racist, bigoted type bullshit, and then someone wants to share that on the internet, then us, as consumers of products, be it a game, movie, TV, book, or whatever, can then, we should be allowed to have this information. People should share this information, as this person said, so then we can look at it and go, will I want to spend my money supporting X people that work at place? And I will say
this
no.
Conversation, would this, right, so then it goes to the discussion of, would this person be looked at if it wasn't for J.K. Rowling's connection to the game?
I don't know, because they don't say why they Googled them. I would honestly, if your question is, would this person have been found out without the J.K. Rowling thing? I would say yes, but maybe not straight away. Or no, hold on, let me cover. I would say yes, as long as they were always working on a big enough game. So if this person solely worked on a bunch of indie stuff where people weren't prone to Google his name, he was probably never going to find, there was never going to be a connection. However, it could have been Harry Potter with let's say that J.K. Rowling didn't have any drama. He was still working on a Harry Potter game. I would say that he still gets found out because at some stage, somewhere along the line, someone goes and Googles their lead designer name. You know, someone Googles and says, what's this guy worked on? What's this guy done? You know, like that's just a journalist Googling. Like, you know, like you do it for a director, producer, writer. You're just Googling someone. What have they done? What have they been? So if the question is, would he have been found out eventually? Yes. I think that people would have made the connection eventually because he's working on a big AAA, one of the biggest properties in the world, Harry Potter, and his name's front and center on product. To say, would his name have never been Googled? And would his name, which is his fucking YouTube channel, which is the first page result, come up when some Google him? Someone was always going to find this. It was just a matter of time, you know. Like it wasn't a dig through the dumps witch hunt. It was first page Google result. Hey, he's got a YouTube channel. Yeah. So yeah, no, fuck him. Fuck. I just don't know. In what world do we need to protect these people?
I'm not saying protect. I'm not talking about protection at all for this person, though.
But the groups of people that you're scared of they're getting called out or whatever.
It's just a thing that can lead to other things that aren't positive happening. That's all. It's the same kind of thing we have about people shitting on developers directly for bad games.
I mean, no one's going to get fired for that, though, right? I know no one's trying to cancel Neil Druckmann for making a shitty game.
I think they want to.
I think they're trying. Yeah,
I think they're trying to. I think that's what they're trying to do.
That, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, I don't know. Should you be fired for your job because you have a shitty opinion? I don't know.
I think you should be fired from your job for a shitty opinion.
I feel like obviously in the arts side or creative industries side of the world, it definitely feels like it's the case. If you don't subscribe to one view of the world, which is the mostly right view of the world.
Yes.
You know, yeah, you obviously aren't accepted, which
I mean,
is for better or worse the way things are.
My quick counterpoint to that is that, like,
it's just interesting. It's interesting in my mind to compare it to like sports, where people do all sorts of terrible stuff, but they're really good at their job, so they keep getting contracts and allowed to play, and that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's an interesting comparison in my mind. But
I mean, I've seen this thrown around where people are like, and look, I'm not gonna say there's definitely not far left people who are like, all right wingers, anyone on the right is wrong and they shouldn't be allowed to have opinions. That certainly does exist, but that's not really what I'm talking about. Like this is a bigoted person. This
leads to that person being empowered.
To what person?
Man.
This leads to the far left person being empowered to do what they want towards the right wing.
I mean, not really, not in this case. This is the guy of the job.
It just feels
Warner
like
Brothers.
in everything, the two extremes keep going further and further out. So.
I was just going to say, like, everyone likes to act like, oh, if you've got any right wing opinions in Hollywood, you can't get a job anymore. When there are a plethora of right wing people who aren't right wing crazies, like Chris Pratt is Is it Pratt? Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, he's very religious, Pratt. But people have come after him for those kind of views.
Yeah, I'm saying, but a small number, and everyone goes, fuck off. John Krasinski? Is that the director of Quiet Place? Yeah, John Krasinski. John
Krasinski.
He's very right wing politics, and if you watch anything, if you read into the politics of the Quiet Place, very right wing movie. I like that movie. I don't give a fuck. Like it's not crazy politics, right? I guess I want to clarify that in my opinion, no one is trying to cancel right wing thought process. What? No, some people are
right wing financial governance.
Yes, like
it's all the ethical stuff and morality stuff that is obviously the big issue and has become the focal point for all left and right extremism.
Like, do I want
across the world
someone who made a video called Pretty Polly's the myth of the male gaze in video games making a video game I want to play? No, not particularly. But again, let me clarify. Let me clarify once again.
Do I care that
I just want to say, because every time I say something, he's taking it to, he should be fired. I don't give a fuck. Warner Brothers can keep him. My point of this whole conversation is that people should be allowed to then choose where or if they choose, like, people always make the argument, well, you should still support it because of other developers. I'm like, why? Maybe we shouldn't. People should be allowed to not support things because of one dude. He's the fucking lead designer or whatever the lead position it was. I've already forgot. Like, that's the thing.
I'll say, I'm surprised he's lead designer based on these thumbnails.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's done, to be honest. If you look up his video game credits, he's done like one other thing. So I don't know how the hell he actually got the job, to be honest.
Nepotism.
Female game developer fired for sexist tweet in praise of cultural appropriation. NBC News blames gamers for hijack of Discord servers. He's got Pepe the Frog there. Go watch that fucking documentary. The injustice, the social justice. Now, fuck off, dude. Yeah. That's if Warner Bros. Wants to keep him, go for gold. I'm not buying this game. Like I've made my decision.
But if Warner Brothers fires him, will you play this game?
I don't know. It's I'm back to 50-50 at that point because I was iffy with I was iffy with J.K. Rowling. So
then where's the line? Is the guy working on sound? If he's got bad views, is that enough to make you not want to play the game?
No, it's like with movies, right? Since you want to get into it, I feel like you're constantly trying to trip me up, but I have an answer for everything.
We're not trying to trip you up. I'm just trying to understand. We're just trying to understand.
The thought process. I'm sure your thought process is similar.
So you want to do it to movies? You want to compare it to movies?
You've said before you don't care about Harvey Weinstein being a producer on films.
If you're still making movies, I would not watch movies he was producing.
If he still was, but past stuff,
no. Like I understand that some people feel a bit weird. And I kind of get it to a degree, but I'm like, he's not getting money from that when I stream Mallrats. You know, like it's whatever.
When I put my Blu-ray into my Bluray player.
Yeah, like I already brought that, so I don't have like the same feeling of like I'm putting money into someone's pocket. I've said my big key movie person has always been Woody Allen. You know, he puts out a movie every year or two, whatever it is.
Wow, how relevant for current times.
He comes out and everyone goes, Woody Allen makes the best movies. He wins a bunch of awards. Everyone goes, this is great. Now, if the Woody Allen in the Woody Allen movies was the guy holding the boom arm, and I would probably still watch the movie because they would have probably fired him. The thing is it a creative person? Is it someone getting the most amount of money? Is it the writer, the director, the producers? Like if it's someone forefront, I'm going to find it very hard not to go, I don't want anything to do with that. I remember when Ender's Game came out, right? That movie, I watched the trailer for it, went, that looks pretty cool. Great movie. I then saw someone write an article that says, well, the author of the book fucking hates gay people. I went, I can't really watch that now, can I? And it wasn't like, he's not even involved in the movie, but it was just like in my head. So I'm like, I can't really do this. Like, how's that sending a message?
It's fine.
You know, like, I don't know. Sure, everyone's got lines. There's people out here. There's like I say to anything else, there is literally 1,000 people trying to get these jobs out there. You know, trying to get these game position jobs. Someone, I presume, most of them could do what he's doing as well, if not better. So, fucking fuck off. Get someone else in. Easy, done. Move on. It's the same as like, Woody Allen makes good movies, though. Million other great directors out there. Fuck him off. Let's go to like. There's no one so important. There's no one so good in any of these things that you can't get rid of them. You know, Diane Wood. I was like, went on Simon's Take My Tone. Shout out to that podcast. One of my favorite bands. Love this band, Diane Wood. They're fucking amazing. There was a whole thing that came out last year where they were like abusing people, potentially like grooming a 16-year-old girl. Fuck off. Not listening to you anymore. Right? Marilyn Manson, all that shit that happened recently. I listen to Marilyn Manson every fucking week up until that. Blocked him on Spotify. There's a million things to listen to. There's a million games to play. There's a million fucking movies. There's none of these people worth crying over. None of them. Absolutely none of them. Give me one. Oh, no. Spielberg. That would be the one. That'd be the one that would do me. If something happened with Spielberg, I'm like, oh, that's it. That's
George Lucas.
Nah, his footprints everywhere. I can't do this. You know, Quentin Tarantino maybe. People always trying to get him over the foot thing. It's just a foot fetish, isn't it?
Fine.
Like it's fine. Like foot. I'm not gonna cancel someone over a foot fetish. Let's.
Yeah, he's not cutting off the feet.
Yeah, it's you just you know, it's a fucking foot fetish.
Nothing illegal.
It's nothing crazy. Let's just take a step back. So anyway, there you go. There's your hot seat topic. There's why.
There's our. Thanks for listening to Ethical Couch this week.
People know when these topics come out how it's going to go, you know? How it's going to go. How the ball's going to play.
Let us know on Twitter the best place to have these kind of discussions. What do you think?
There was a period where I said, should we not do them anymore? And you all said, no, Dylan, we're doing them. So we do them.
No. This is, we made like 30 minutes worth of conversation. It helps.
It's good. I don't think anyone else talks about it, to be honest. It's still probably one of, I know we never agree fully on all points in this.
You're more. That's the thing. I think Ash and me are a bit more center, where you're kind of more out to the left in terms of.
I'm very fucking left.
I
I vote green, mate.
That's a waste. That's a waste of a vote. But just to put that out there,
I don't know. Depends, especially in Tasmania. Yeah,
yeah, that's a war. But
you can't think like that when you're voting. You need to vote for who you think's the best candidate. You know.
Yeah. That's
the problem with two-party system.
Yeah, it is a problem, but yeah. But that's the thing. I'm never like. I'm the reason I ask questions most of the time from Dylan is just because I just want to understand. Because I don't understand a lot of the time, where I'm like, make me understand, and I don't think I'm very good at kind of putting what my opinion is across or what I think is across sometimes in these things, because they are kind of that higher level.
Because it's so fucking grey. It's like
there's a lot of grey there, and sometimes I'm like, even when I hear myself talk, I'm like, oh, that came out a little bit too far one way, and I'm like, I don't want it to be that. It's just a discussion. I'm happy that we're able to be open and have these discussions, and we don't hit stop on the record and be like we fucking hate each other. It's just a case of it's nice to get these discussions out there.
Just to clarify, I don't know if what I say makes any sense or is fucking good. I just say it. So it's just, I don't know. Say the words, make the things. All right. But yeah,
transition to the next thing, Dylan.
Yeah, I don't know how it's. I really didn't cue him up too well. That's why I was trying to get like some.
No.
Remember Halo?
What else has been cancelled?
Remember
talking about another cancelled game?
Yeah, there we go. Talk about cancelled things. Remember there was a Halo game that was not quite cancelled. Anyway, there's a TV show. So that was a shit transition.
Talk about a show that's been cancelled time after time after time.
Eurogamer writes, Halo's long-awaited TV series will finally debut in Q1 2022. In the US, it'll debut on Paramount Plus, produced by Showtime and Steven Spielberg. There he is, shout outs. Production company Amblin Television. The show has been nearly 8 years in the making. Filming had begun in Budapest in early 2020, though it was interrupted by the coronavirus pandemic. Deadline reported shooting is now back underway with around 60% of its first season in the can. I was just going to throw this to Kieran. You can take the serious hat off and put on the helmet if we say. So knowing that the show's 60% in the can, that they actually got that far shooting it, they didn't just shoot a week and go, what the fuck are we doing? That they're getting back to it soon, and it's got a confirmed release date now, 2022. Are you actually excited for a Halo television show? Like, it's actually happening.
I'm actually interested because I don't know if either of you guys have watched it. There is the Halo movie.
Or the live action thing?
The live action movie. Yeah, it's like a movie.
It was like a miniseries, wasn't it? It was like two...
Is it Forward Until Dawn?
Forward Unto Dawn.
Forward Unto Dawn, there it is.
A web series.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty good. Like, that isn't actually, like, bad.
It was official. It wasn't like a fan thing, so...
No, it wasn't a fan thing. It was an official release, and it ends with Master Chief and stuff. So I'm always interested, and I think Halo has some interesting lore and depth to it that isn't always explored while you're shooting grunts that are running at you with sticky grenades. So I'm looking forward to this. If this is already 60% been shot, I'm looking forward to what they've got there to work with, what they can enhance, what they can make better. No, I'm down with it. I think this could be really good.
Now, Ash, because I can't remember, explain to the dear listeners Paramount Plus and how the fuck we watch it in Australia when it comes.
So, there's currently 10 All Access, which is a spin-off of CBS All Access. Because CBS bought 10, I think, like a year or two ago. 10 All Access will be rebranded as Paramount Plus sometime this year. So, in theory, you'll be able to watch all this stuff on Paramount Plus, through which used to be 10 All Access.
And how much is 10 All Access currently?
Currently, $10 a month.
That's
for not a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say, that seems like a lot for...
So,
I'm sure people would pay $10 for 2 months to watch Halo or whatever they would have to pay, I guess. But
yeah, that's a reasonable. I think $10 is a reasonable subscription.
If you have a big show like that,
with a lot of catalog,
yes.
You know, I mean, but I know Buddy Watson recently subscribed, I believe, so he could watch all the seasons of Survivor or whatever.
Absolute
season he hadn't watched.
madman.
Absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be something. If you didn't know, you can on PlayStation you can watch or currently watch 10 All Access through the Apple TV Plus app.
It doesn't have its own app?
No.
All right, can we just shout that out quickly? I don't know where this fits in the conversation, but in case people don't know this, there's a bunch of apps that aren't officially on PlayStation. However, if you download the Apple TV app, which on phone and Apple TV serves as a hub for other apps, it does the exact same thing on PlayStation. So even though a lot of these places like 10 Plus, Mubi, and some other things don't have official PlayStation apps, you download the Apple TV app, you can then download these other apps through that app, which means you need to make an Apple account to download that app, and you need to make the 10 All Access account to launch that app, which means you're launching an app to watch it on your PlayStation.
App.
It's fucking disgusting.
PlayStation, just get some more media apps.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insanely. All right, let's wind down to some happy stories. So firstly...
Oh, can I just say, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, you say that for fucking everything, though, so...
You know? No, but obviously this has been in development for a long time.
They've shot 60%, Ash. You call Steven Spielberg a liar?
The other...
No.
I don't want to call him a liar, but... Kyle Killen, the showrunner, has not got a great track record. His shows tend to be cancelled after one season.
Well...
So... Unfortunately, they're good. They just don't rate very well. So I'm hoping for his sake this is successful, but I don't know. We'll see.
We shall see. So I just want to shout this out because I watched this and I was like, well, this actually looked really good. So just in case anyone else would have skipped over this trailer and not paid any attention to it, Zach over at Well Played writes, if the announcement of Gran Turismo 7's delay got you down, well, we just have news that might pick you right back up. Mattel and Milestone have announced that Hot Wheels Unleashed, I love the name, the latest arcade racing game to utilize the famous toy racing cars is scheduled to release on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC on September 30th, 2021. It's pre-orders for $70. Hot Wheels Unleashed will feature the...
Sorry.
Did you just get the...
No, I just saw the spelling error in the article.
Okay, I did. Hot Wheels Unleashed will feature the brand's iconic orange tracks, and we'll see players drift, boost, jump, and crash into both single-player and offline and online multiplayer races. Players will be able to customize their vehicles with various skins, as well as craft their own tracks with the game's track editor that they can share with the Hot Wheels community online. It had a really cool trailer. I'm all about this. I think, to be honest, I'm going to be playing a Hot Wheels game this year, everyone, because... And a really badass trailer. Looks like fucking Need for Speed, but with fucking micro cars. And the other thing it had me thinking when I was watching this is I really got into... There was one on like early PS4 or something like a... There's been
a couple Hot Wheels games that were really good. Like there was one on PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Like midway through its cycle that were fucking great. Like the tracks were really interesting. It was really fun to drive. Like it was really arcadey. Like it almost had that Trackmania feel.
Yes, Trackmania. That's what I was trying to... The other franchise I was trying to think of, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it has that feel and they're really good. Like especially to do things with... to do things with the fact that they are toys and treating them as toys, or even there's a couple games where they're trying to do it in the Hot Wheels universe, so they're not toys exactly, but they're like real races and stuff. I think it's a real kind of... It's got potential to be really fun and really great, because I feel like nowadays we have so many kind of kind of realistic driving games that are...
Well, even if they're arcadey, they're super realistic looking anyway, and... Whatever,
yes.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be really nice to have one of these games to kind of shake that up a bit and find a new kind of niche within that market to bring these kinds of games back into the system.
100%. I'm all about it. I think the last like micro cars or whatever you want to call it was whatever the thing you just said before that I've already forgot.
Trackmania,
yes. Was that. Like I couldn't play one every year, but it's definitely been long enough now that I'm like, fuck, I can get into that, like, because they do play differently to proper racing games, and if they play right and they got the controls down and everything right, then you kind of get in the zone with them,
Yep.
Really go off. All right, last story from Well Played as well. Shout outs. Ending on a happy note, Film Victoria announces which games will share $550,000 in funding. It's always great to see Film Victoria supporting local Australian games. So Zach writes, Victoria is credited with having one of, if not the best video game programs in all of Australia. Each year, Film Victoria and Creative Victoria fund a number of video game projects, helping bring to life unique and creative ideas. If only the federal government had the same outlook on the video game industry, but that's an argument for another day. Earlier today, Film Victoria announced that 10 studios would share $550,000 of funding for their projects. The last round of funding in the assigned production investment games program. So there's a couple games we know straight up of, and there's a couple we went to studios to start new projects, I guess. So the first one is Broken Roads. So this is supposed to come out at some point in 2021. It is it's the Australian Outback. What do you call this type of game? CRPG? CRPG. So like
tactical RPG.
Yeah, like old school Fallout, Wasteland,
turn-based,
that sort of stuff, but it's set during the Australian Outback in the apocalypse and everything like that. So, looks really cool. I've been excited for it, especially since I wrote up a whole. Was that last year I did that interview?
You did the interview, with
the narrative lead at the time, so that's really cool. You should read that if you want to. So this game continues to look really cool. Really cool. I said cool a lot there. It was probably a bit too much, but that's fine. Really excited to see more, and happy that the team Drop Bear Bites are getting more money for that. So that was cool.
What a game!
What a game!
What a name!
What a name! Real fucking awesome, mate. Next game is Enchanted. So it's a co-op adventure game where you discover magical potions, serve otherworldly guests, and pacify monsters. I did briefly check out for a demo for this last year. I think it was in one of the Steam
festivals
things. And since there were so many last year, I cannot at all remember which one it was. But I mean, it's kind of a take on. It's the easiest just to say it's a take on like Overcooked type shit, but like slowed down and a bigger restaurant type thing or something along those lines.
Seems like it's got more of a storyline.
Yes, more of a storyline. More focus on just cute characters and fantasy elements and stuff like that. It's a bit like Diablo, if you compare it that way. Next game was Little Ruin. Elevator pitch here. They've just got written. Little Ruin is a narrative-driven isometric adventure for PC, Mac, and Linux. Shoutouts to Linux. Set in a crumbling world of moral ambiguity. You are Isabel, a teenage girl entangled in the machinations of a colonial civil war. No trailer or anything for that one, but sounds cool. Trash is the next one from 15 Minutes a Game. What a time. Elevator pitch. Discover a post-human planet in Trash, a beautiful crafted open-world action-adventure game where strange and wondrous trash-based life thrives. Explore the surroundings with friends, solve puzzles, craft unique attachments, and merge from the heap. I can't believe anyone would make a game the name Trash because I feel like that's like anti SEO or like
anti appealing. Yeah,
but
but
if you look,
some people just love making trash.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that trailer, it basically looks like it's like the anti Wall-E where you're like a robot that's not as cute, but I mean you're literally trash collecting trash. So sounds cool. Can find out more. And
Trash.
Yes. Jesus Christ. Wayward Strand, next one here. So from Ghost Pattern, hopefully coming out 2021. Elevator pitch. Wayward Strand is a heartfelt, interactive story told in a unique and curious way. Players Casey Beaumaris, intrepid teenage journalist, as she visits an airborne hospital for the first time, uncovers the airship's mysteries and explores the lives of its inhabitants. I wrote a preview for this one when it did have up its demo last year. It is really cool. I really enjoyed it. It's like a point and click narrative adventure, I guess. Like there wasn't really any puzzles.
Yes.
The cool.
This is the one that's happening like real time.
So that's the cool thing about this one is that when you arrive on the airship, you can play for the demo several times because it's like everything's running at real time. You'll see the timer in the top right hand corner of the screen, and you can like run to some person's room, but then of course you may miss a conversation with someone else. So if you played through the demo again, you could easily be like, well, what happens? I went to this other part of the ship, and you could talk to someone else for your brief stint with the demo and this sort of stuff. So obviously it seems like the game's going to maybe not require, but encourage several different playthroughs. But it also means that people are just realistically walking about and doing their things and going and having conversations with other NPCs in the game and things like that. The voice acting was good and all these sorts of stuff. It's just it was a very wholesome looking sounding game. I did enjoy the demo. I'm looking forward to playing more of that one. And then the last couple here are They just write, other studios and projects to receive funding have very little info online. So it's Eternal Ones by Still Sky Productions, OVO, Planet Engineer by Two Moves. Two Moves. What a fucking Australians in their developer names, you know what I'm saying? Sight Unseen by Alexander Muscat, Unannounced Project by Guck, and Unannounced Project by Darcy Smith and Jessica Shippert. So that's cool. I always like to see Australian projects getting funding. Good shit. And I'll do it for this week's episode of Arcade Couch. Of course, you can let us know any questions, comments, concerns, follow-ups to any of the topics, including the fucking hashtag cancel culture if you see so fit. You can let us know your thoughts on any of that by either tweeting at us, find all of our Twitters, explosionnetwork.com/Twitter, and you can join our Discord to let us know on there what you'd like, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. If you liked this episode and you thought it was worth at least $1 or more, that's fine. explosionnetwork.com/support will take you to our Ko-fi page where you can do a one-off payment or a monthly payment. Fucking go ham, do what you need to do. And until next week, same time, same couch. Probably less news because this week was fucking something, I'll tell you all. But boy! Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at explosionnetwork.com. And please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.
So when your Pokemon get knocked out, they're just knocked out forever.